as that heart is still tender and adequately in alignment, I can pick things from heaven. I can get wisdom from the presence of God. I will know what to do and how to get it done. In fact, things that have not even existed before, I can have ideas about them. My mind can become fruitful just because I have come to realize that the source of all things will be drawn from my intimacy with God. Prayer is an enterprise that you cannot do without your heart, because if prayer doesn't affect your heart, it cannot change your life. Cannot. You just show up in the presence of God and you want to talk to God, then He reminds you how you shouted on your wife. So what He's saying is, make peace before you come back. That's when you will discover how difficult it is to say sorry. You will check your height first. The flesh is terrible. The fallen nature is terrible. But you see, if your heart is going to be ahead of your head, then you will need to follow those instructions that God will give you that will weaken your flesh, weaken the power of the fallen nature on your life, so that the power of Him that is resurrected, that lurks in your heart, can take the lead. That is the description of what it means to be a spiritual man. So the first thing I want to bring to our notice is that God, our Father, is in secret. I will tell you how to find Him. So that's the practical lesson. The first practical lecture is how to find Him that is in secret. If you want to find Him always, want to find Him perpetually, when you quarrel with your wife, before you sleep, call her and say, you know, it's very difficult. What I'm telling you, what I'm telling you is very difficult. If you need to close your eyes, close them and just say. For long, she will not know why you behave like that. She will not know. She won't know that there's something you are trying to. She will think that suddenly love for her just came on you. She won't know that there's something deeper than that requires that you make peace. I dwell in secret. I am He that dwells in secret. That's number one. The second thing is that the Bible reveals that He also sees in secret. It's possible for you to dwell in secret and see in the open. He dwells in secret and He sees also in secret. When God was educating Samuel on the prophetic, would-be kings were standing before him, and he looked at Eliab. Eliab, in terms of his physical structure, his height, the way he was built, his biceps, his triceps, he had the physique of a king. And Samuel was already making moves to empower him, to enthrone him, when God says, your scale of measurement is faulty. I do not look at the outward appearance. So he's educating his man. I look upon the heart. So most times when you see the people that God chooses for His assignments, when you look at them physically, they don't look it 100% of the times. For instance, I was born with facial palsy. I've never closed this eye before, and I was born a stammerer. And then the Lord said, I will preach His gospel. So my first question was, you created people that could talk, and you came to me that cannot talk, and you are telling me to preach for you, and preaching is talking. I don't understand your logic. I come from a family of intellectuals. I mean, a long line of intellectuals. So, and yeah, very sharp people. And among my immediate siblings, in terms of intellectual capacity, I'm not number one, I'm not number two, and I'm not number three out of 7. These guys are very sharp guys, right? So why not pick? So when you look at them in the natural, they do not qualify to become what God is using them to do. Not because it is not good for God to have an intellectual, but the way God chooses his people is according to his rating from the perspective of the heart. So some things may not make sense, they may not be logical, but the realm in which they make sense is from the realm of the heart. He said, do not look at the outward appearance. I have already rejected him. My analysis is done from the perspective of the heart. So it is you that tends your heart, that is willing to pay a price to maintain your alignment. It is you that God looks on and he said, this is my man. And you know that, are you there? As I round up, you know that it is possible for you to neglect your heart, and then you are everywhere speaking in tongues so loud, and everybody is seeing you and say, oh, that sister has fire. Meanwhile, the heart is out of place. That is a description of a hypocrite that God is saying we should not become. Sometimes it's okay, I'm going on a dry fast. I don't know if you know what a dry fast is. Staying without food. You can drink water, but staying without food for 24 hours, for 48 hours, for 72 hours, because you want to seek the face of God. You know why some of those fasts take time? It's because of your heart. God is trying to re-engineer your heart. It is totally out of alignment, totally out of sync. It has lost its calibration. The readings on the heart, they are wrong. And so there is God deploys all the arsenal in his laboratory to begin to fix your heart. That's why the fasting took so much time before you could get feedback. All the strings were out of joint. He could no longer string your heart. Couldn't make a definite note on the sound of your heart when it comes to try the reins. The sound was distorted. So he needs to walk there. Most of his walkings are in that place. Most of his dealings will come from that place. When you start becoming sensitive, he will drop an instruction. Go and give me this amount, and you can obey. It means you have made him your king. If you relate with him that governs your heart, and you allow him to be king, your king, then your prayer will become powerful. Anyone that ignores his heart is praying for sport. And people that pray for sport, the Bible calls them hypocrites. What we are going to do in the next 15 minutes is to find him that is in secret. There are so many things that, I read that scripture today. If I regard iniquity in my heart, the Lord will not hear me. Then I clicked on iniquity and saw the long list of items: evil, unforgiveness, bitterness. What? So any man that is beginning to take prayer seriously has to go and run a check before God. Beam your light upon my heart so that I can see through your light and understand the state of my heart. You might have overrated yourself until the Lord decides to shed light upon your heart. Sometimes when you begin to pray, Lord, Help me see my heart. Help me see my heart. Then he will create a situation. And then the way you will come with anger and curse, then he will say, because out of the abundance of the heart, the curse was there in the heart. All this while you never knew that you had cursing capacity to curse bitterly. It was the locking in the heart all this while. And you kept it for 18 years until an occasion came. God helped you and it came out. Then when you see what you are capable of, you go back to the closet and say, Lord. Yes. Except you become serious with your heart, you can't go far in the enterprise called